are.
Joining me this week on the Back in the Day podcast is the extremely talented Kevin KT Turner from the Ben and Skin Show. You can hear KT on the Ben and Skin Show every weekday from 2 to 5 on 97.1 The Eagle or on the iHeart Radio app. You can hear that live, and they also podcast their entire show every single day. You can also hear him on the Kevin Turner Show podcast. Me and KT, we talk about growing up in a small town. We talk about going from a small town and then going over to a big university like UNT and how that was a culture shock. And we just talk about a lot of great stories from back in his day. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this episode. Enjoy.
Hey, are you talking about back in the day?
Nah, man. I'm talking about back in the day.
Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day.
Joining me today on the Back in the Day podcast from the Ben and Skin Show and the Kevin Turner Show podcast is Kevin KT Turner. How are you today, KT?
Man, I'm really great. It's good to be on the Bit podcast.
Yeah.
You ever like hashtag it?
Yeah, hashtag. We've tried to a couple times. I'll try to write it out, and I'm like, how many T's and D's are there on this thing?
No, man. Dude, thanks for having me. I know I've been jerking you around on the schedule because you were like, hey, man, when can you do it? And I was like, man, ask me in a couple weeks. And I was like, hey, man, ask me in a couple weeks. And then 4 years later, finally, I'm here.
I know you've gotten kind of big ever since the podcast. Your podcast rolled out. It's huge. You're at the Athletic. You're on freaking the Eagle now. It's a hard guy to nail down.
The pandemic was hard on all of us, so yes.
Yeah. Not for you though, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I only gained 15 pounds. I actually felt that was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Just 15. That's not bad.
Dude, I gained weight, lost weight, gained it because when it first happened, I was working from home.
Oh yeah.
And it was just snack central at home.
It has to be.
Yeah.
And you know what? I support people having snacks in their home.
I do too, man. But it's crazy because at my office, it's unlimited snacks too. But I'm a lot busier. I can't just walk to the kitchen constantly. But there's so much snacks in my office, it's out of control.
Yeah, snacks are fine. Everyone, I think even nutritionists are like, oh yeah, snacks are good, but it's the right kind of snacks. If someone's got some, like almonds or something, probably some without any salt on them, the kind of dry.
Yeah.
I have gummy bears. I just make the wrong choice.
Yeah.
But I justify it as it's a snack. I'm not going to eat a full meal. It's just going to be a handful of gummy bears.
Yeah, I crush a lot of candy at work.
Yeah.
I used to call different girls in my office. I call them candy girls. And I just have this running joke that I'd go talk to them, ask them about their day, worry about their stuff, kind of get an idea, act like I cared, but just so that I could get candy from them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I had to stop doing that because we got HR. So it's I can't have a group of candy girls anymore.
That's legitimately how I met my girlfriend at the old station. She was the front desk girl.
Uh-huh.
And I the front desk girls, but you just know them as that, because for me, you don't want to be, too. You just don't want to be. You don't want to be too forward, I guess.
Yeah.
But they had this, and I hate Jolly Ranchers. And they had this jar of Jolly Ranchers, and I'd just go down there and say, hey, what's going on? And I would use that as my excuse to talk to them. Because if I didn't have any reason to talk to them, then it's just awkward, and then you are kind of welcoming HR potential.
Yeah, you're just hanging out a little bit too much at the front desk. Do you need something? Why are you here?
Yeah, I'm here to get a Jolly Rancher.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I don't even think I'm that creepy. But I think the guy who's trying not to be creepy just for that reason ends up being creepy. So, I don't know. Maybe I am creepy.
I don't know, man. I don't think you're creepy.
I think if you're defining what creepy is and asking the question, if you are not creepy, you probably are creepy.
Yeah, maybe. You know what I mean? But I think, if you're mapping out how not to be creepy, it's maybe that's something that you should try to work on.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I've been actually wearing pants to work lately. And it's been a whole game changer.
That changes everything.
I didn't even know that was an option.
No?
And now it is. I just wear, shorts, pants. When you just go T-shirt and boxers to work, and long socks, of course. You're not going to wear short shorts. that was, I thought that's what we were supposed to do.
Yeah, like, I thought this was the dress code.
I thought you grow up, hey, radio guys don't have to wear suits. That's what I thought. I thought you just wear what you want to work, and it turns out they do want you to, they prefer you to wear shorts, but or pants. But there's really no proof that there's HR.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't know who HR is. I've never seen them. I don't know what they do.
Yeah, you don't know like where their office is. You don't know their extension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until you see the HR person, how do you even know?
Exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of emails, that come through with titles on them.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I probably know that person. Yeah, I've seen her before. Yeah, I've seen that guy. HR. Because they're never there.
No.
Where are they?
Who knows?
Because they can't be there, because if they're there, they've seen too much.
There you go. So, like, you're in radio. You've been in radio for a while now. Like, how long have you been in radio?
Okay. In radio in the Metroplex since 2010.
Okay.
I began as an intern at the Ticket in 2009. Now, my first radio thing was at the age of 13 in the city of Graham, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Graham is close to Wichita Falls?
Yeah, Graham's probably about an hour south of Wichita Falls.
Okay.
And my hometown is Olney, which is like 30 minutes north of Graham. And they would sometimes carry our local sports,
Okay. So how did young 13-year-old KT get into radio in Graham, Texas?
So there was the only high school basketball team. They had a playoff game somewhere in West Texas. And it's one of those things where the roads were a little icy, right? And the radio station didn't want to take the risk of driving down there because they were from Graham. If it was Graham, they would have gone. But it was Olney, so they didn't go. And I remember my cousin, I was just hanging out with my friends, in junior high, hanging out with their friends, in a little cheering section or whatever. And my cousin, my older cousin Ty, runs to me. He's got a phone. He goes, hey, it's the radio station. Do the game. So everyone in Olney who didn't get to go to that game got to hear me do the second half of this game. I went to the top of the stadium where it was about as quiet as it was, and just did the game over the phone. And it was a huge game because they won and Olney went to state. And historically, Olney doesn't do well in sports. So it was like a big thing in the city. I remember when I went to school on Monday, that radio station was like, it's National Kevin Turner Day because he bailed us out over the weekend.
So were you doing play-by-play?
Just doing play-by-play. And I knew, I knew everyone on the team, because I was in junior high and, but you're almost practiced with these guys, sort of. The junior high team practices, you're still cross paths with these guys. It's the same basketball coaches.
How big is Olney?
3,000 people.
So the school was what, a 2, 3A?
2A.
2A?
Yeah.
Okay. So who were you guys competing against? Who was your big rival growing up? Were y'all playing like the Sweetwaters and the Snyders of the world? Or
So we actually lost our coach to Sweetwater. Sweetwater's ended up being a little bit bigger. So Holiday,
okay.
Electra, Seymour.
Okay.
Towns like that.
I grew up in the Metroplex, but I have kind of a background in small town West Texas because I ended up going to a junior college in Snyder.
Okay.
So I know all those random towns.
Baseball school?
They had a baseball school.
Clarendon? Are we talking Clarendon?
No, it was Western Texas
Western
College.
Texas. Okay.
Yeah. I went there randomly. It was an interesting town. You know?
How close is that from like Lubbock?
An hour and about 20 minutes.
Okay.
So I go out there actually pretty often because then I ended up marrying a girl from there.
Yeah.
Which I met in the Metroplex. Didn't meet her in Snyder.
Okay.
So when I left that school, I was like, never coming back to this town. And now I go back there like 4 times a year.
You had to go see family?
Yeah.
Oh,
so we go
man.
out there to West Texas all the time. So growing up in Olney, you're doing like that radio gig. How long did you do that for?
Well, I did that, so it was kind of fun. They let me go do for Christmas break. I would be off for 2 weeks, so they'd be like, "Okay, you can come up and do a couple shows. You're playing music and talking about whatever." And then I would do so if I was on as I got older, if I was on JV my freshman year or something, I was still doing the varsity football games.
Okay.
And things like that, which is actually, if you think about it, pretty great access because I was going to all the practices, right?
Yeah.
But then I remember they got to the point where they kind of lost touch with me as I got older and I'm on varsity. I can't help them out and do these games anymore. And I think they lost their desire to really cover Olney anymore, at some point. But I remember I was going to a playoff game and I'm on the bus. It was like my junior or senior year of baseball, and I get a phone call from them like, "Hey, can you do the game tonight?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm playing third base." Like, no, I
guess
actually
I
I
can.
could
Yeah.
actually, but no, I can't. But it was a lot of fun to do like football and baseball and basketball, boys, girls. And I made me want to be a play-by-play person. Like when I grew up, I wanted to be. I kind of knew I wanted to do radio. Me and my cousins, Blake and Ty, they're a little bit older than me. Blake's 2 years older than me. Ty's 4 or 5 years older than me. And we lived, because we live in a small town, football fields distance away from each other, you know, 100 yards. And it's just an open field in between our house. And we just did fake radio shows. And we were like, we started listening to all these things, listening to Galloway when he was on 8:20 a.m. Like we could hear all that stuff. It would come in and kind of pick up the ticket sometimes. So we're listening to all of that and kind of, doing characters and things like that. And we also get the video camera out and try to do like sketch comedy.
Yeah.
And all kinds of like Saturday Night Live type stuff.
Do you remember any of your sketches that you did?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're terrible. There's so many bad ones.
And okay, so you're making these sketches. They're for nobody but you guys, right? Because this
Pretty
is
much.
before YouTube and
Yeah.
everything. Because me and my friends at 14, 15, 16, we were making sketches too. And I think back on it and I'm like, what were we doing these for?
Yeah.
Like we were just recording them. No one watched them but us.
I haven't seen this in like 5 or 6 years, but it occasionally at a family gathering, it'll come up and we'll like sneak off into like another room. And we'll like find a VCR and like, okay, let's see if it's still, and like if like one or two of them holds up, you're like, yes. But there was like the dumbest thing. Like it's as simple as this too. Like one of them was just me, and this is not a highlight sketch, but I'm just telling you like where our mind was in terms of humor. Like it was like, oh, and now let's take a look back at the career of Emmitt Smith, because Emmitt Smith is retired. It's me eating a bag of Doritos, it's sitting in a chair, and then I turn around and there's just a sign that says Emmitt Smith's career. And that's all it is. It's so stupid, but it's like, and then it's over. And then it's on to some bigger sketch that ended up, but some of them hit, with us, and that's kind of what matters at the time. We're always trying to make someone laugh.
We made one. You remember that TV show on MTV, Made?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I want to be made into a baseball player or whatever, right? And then at the end of it, they get to do something. So we had one where it was like, I want to be made into a cage fighter. And it was this guy that was like completely out of shape. He trains for like 2 weeks. They're doing all this training. At the end, he's got to fight this actual cage fighter. And it's like, so it was me. I was the kid that wanted to be made into a cage fighter. And then one of my friends who ended up playing like D1 called, so just ripped. And it's just a video of him just destroying me. And it was like, thanks, MTV. I've been made. It's like,
I've been made into this.
Yeah, I'm just completely beat up. So we would just do sketches like that all the time.
It's fun to do that. And, it actually started before that because, again, Saturday Night Live was just every week, or reruns just all the time. That's all. And I know there are more, like, less tame, sketch comedy things out there. Monty Python, which we watched that too. And at the time, I didn't understand Mr. Show, but it was definitely a thing I kind of remember, on HBO. But my grandparents, who also lived kind of in that lot as well, were right there. And we would go over there, and they would keep us all the time. And my meemaw would just watch us do these shows. And it was just so fun. And she would laugh at the dumbest shit ever. Like, she would just laugh at these things, whether she thought it was funny or maybe she was just trying to make us feel good.
Yeah.
But that gives you like confidence. Okay, let's go do something else. And we were kind of like, the dumbest thing. We had this thing where we had a sheriff, and that every scene that the sheriff was in, it would end with him saying that he's biofreezing his man boobs. And he's just rubbing biofreeze on his tits. Like, it's so stupid, but he's in a bathtub now. Like, why is the sheriff in the bathtub? And that was a character, like a recurring character. It was so dumb.
Did you ever want to try to do comedy? Like, when you moved to, like, did you ever want to like try to do sketch or like improv or try to do stand up or anything like that?
I've always wanted to do that type of stuff, and I've never had like the full confidence to do it. But I also think there was a time too when I got a break in radio that like kind of said, hey, it kind of was like hey, you can actually do this type of stuff on the radio. So like, there were things like in high school, we had one like theater arts class, and generally it was not a very big class, but we put together like an improv night type thing. And it was like one semester though. Like it wasn't some like thing where you could take it for multiple years, and it was so fun doing like whose line is it anyway type stuff.
Yeah.
And so I did want to do that, and then you go to college, and I was like, am I going to do this? And I was so shy. I mean, I had a bad college experience because in a town where there's 50 people in my graduating class, and I went to UNT, and there's immediately nobody that I know around. I mean, besides my roommate who I knew, but grew up with. I did not fully understand how to talk to humans.
What was it a complete culture shock
Yes.
coming from Olney to UNT? Because I mean, UNT has what, 30,000 students, something like that.
A ton of people, and it was a thing where, I didn't fully realize how behind I was from a maturity level. I was probably 5 years behind, and that's scary, man. When you go and like, okay, now there's bigger class. I'm in classes with more people than I graduated with. I mean, our classes were 15 people, and I was the funny guy in high school. Well, all of a sudden, you're not that funny.
There's 15 funny guys in the class.
And so it's like, okay, well, great. Okay, my defense mechanism is down now. And so I ended up like not really talking to people, and I didn't have a great experience until I started meeting people. And that was like year 2 or 3, end of year 2, first of year 3, and I started, working at the radio station. Ted Emmerich, I got lucky. I took this is the craziest thing. I took a math class that you had to, basics, right? You gotta go.
Yeah.
And I'm just not gonna pass. Like it's just not. And I always made good grades at Olney. Oh, you get to college and they got this hard math class here. Like what's happening? So they have a TA, and with the TA, basically, it's like if you stay 15, 20 minutes after class and they kind of teach you some stuff, they'll give you a few extra points. Well, the TA her name was Kate. Kate is now the wife of Ted Emmerich. I would say he's a legendary broadcaster now, but his father, the late Roger Emmerich, is the son. And she goes, "Let me introduce you to Ted." And Ted gave me a real good talk my first year about you got to get in there, man. Like I can't and Ted's just a year older than me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's like you would have thought he was. See how I'm 5 years, less mature than I should be for my age. He's 5 years more mature than he should be for his age.
10-year swing.
10-year swing, and he told me go get in there. So I now I'm DJing jazz music at the station, and I'm in now. And you started meeting people, and then you started making this chain of friends, and now I've got 10 or 15 people who I went to UNT with in that radio, TV, and film department, who are out working in media or working for some of the local teams or working in radio or whatever. And we had this like tight bond of friends, and that was good to finally find a tight bond of friends because I needed that, because not knowing anyone was really bad for me because I didn't know how to talk to people.
Yeah. I can imagine just going from a town of 3,000. So what, the 50 people in your graduating class?
Yeah, right around there, yeah.
So was your school like one of those schools where K through 12 is all in one building? Is it that small?
No. It was elementary, and then junior high 6 through 8, and then 9 through 12 high school.
And there was different buildings.
Yeah, three different buildings.
Yeah, okay. Because I have a couple of friends that they grew up in like towns that were like 1A high schools, and that's how it was. It's like they're just one building. There was sections off for each one of the kids, but I was like, God, there's just one building. All of you guys are at one school. Because mine was the opposite. My situation of going to college, I went to the Metroplex, from the Metroplex to a town of 10,000, and it was complete culture shock.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Hebron.
Okay.
If you know where that's at. It's like North Carrollton, almost Plano-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
4A.
We were a 4A when I was in high school. They're a 6A now.
Jeez.
But I mean, the equivalent of what a 5A was, because they changed everything.
Yeah.
Everything bumped up a class, which makes no sense. So now like the 2As are now called 3As, but it's still the same qualifications.
I disagree with their changes now. That's very confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing.
We had a clear-cut 5 system.
Yeah.
It's like, I really have a problem with the NFL playing 17 games. Like, 16 games is good.
Yeah, it's even
if a
number.
team's 8-8, I don't want to know about a team who's 8-9.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It's dumb.
Yeah, it's
Keep
really
things,
stupid.
Even.
Yeah. So we move. I go to that town of 10,000, and my junior college is smaller than my graduating class. There's probably like 350 people at that school.
Yeah.
And it was my first, kind of the same thing like how you said, like my first semester, everything like that, I just kind of kept to myself. The only people I hung out with were the people that, because I have a theater degree, so going with, I just would hang out with the people that I did theater with. But other than that, I was just kind of like, this is awkward. I don't really have anything in common. They looked at me like I was from another country.
Sure.
You know? Everyone, I had earrings, which was weird. I don't know why I had earrings, but I did. And I dressed way different than everybody else did. It was a whole different ball game.
You find that small town, because you get to experience that small town America, it's a lot of people who just know what people like them are thinking. And it's very dangerous, quite frankly, because I think you should probably be around as many people as you can and many different kinds of people as you can.
Yeah.
And I mean, you kind of see this in the world a little bit, and I'm just kind of like, okay. I had pretty much like that experience in the small town. Like, I know how everyone thinks, and I know what everyone thinks, and I know what everyone thinks of everyone else, and they know everything about everyone, and everyone's talking about people, and they all. It's just like, it's very frustrating. But now I look back at it and look at those home prices as a guy who's trying to buy a house, and I'm like, man, small town America doesn't look too bad,
right? You know what I mean? Let's gossip.
Yeah.
I always thought it was funny. Is like everyone talks about people in small towns are so nice. I don't think that's true. I think they're nice to people from the small town.
Yeah.
But any outsider that walks in, everyone's looking at you like you're.
Who is that?
Yeah, why are you in this grocery store?
No, yeah.
Right? It's a completely different ballgame. So, okay, you're funny, you're doing sketches, you're radio, you're in this small town. How do people, like, in your high school growing up, where are you fitting in? Like, you like the class clown in class?
So, you have this whole world of everyone. You've known everyone for years. So there's no secrets. Everyone knows everybody. Besides the random people that come in. And not only in your grade, 2 grades above you and 2 grades below you.
Yeah.
Everyone knows everything about you. I swear it's going to seem like a generic answer, but I was kind of the guy who everyone was cool with. I didn't have any, bitter rivalries or anything like that. I was not the most popular guy at all. But I was the guy most likely at the award show to let's go play a song on stage or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like, I was cool. I would say I was moderately popular.
Okay.
But I was not like the most popular. But I was the guy. Like, we had the whole awards. There's nothing. They want to label you in small towns most likely to succeed. Do you know how offensive that is to everyone else who doesn't win that award? You're saying that guy's. That's a lot of pressure to put on that guy too. I see you. They think Marshall is really going to succeed. Like, he's a lot of pressure. I won most humorous every year. That was mine.
Do you remember who won most likely to succeed?
Yeah.
Are they successful? You don't have to say their name or anything.
Yeah.
They did it. So so everyone, the vote was correct.
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
But best looking didn't pan out.
No.
I don't know.
My senior year, the most talented was me, this other kid, and 2 other guys, right? We're on the most talented. And the guy that won was this guy that would sing like I Believe I Can Fly. Every year he would sing just this one song. He was a decent singer, but like the other guy that didn't win was on the TV show So You Think You Can Dance. And like he's like on Broadway, all this type of stuff. So like one day randomly he was messaging me about something. I go, how's it feel to not win? The most talented. I was like, well, what's he doing right now? Look at you, man.
Yeah.
Like, I always give him a hard time about it.
Dude, that thing, that's kind of nuts that they have those awards. Like, they should just give the kids a day. Just give the kids a day off. Like, you don't have to have an award show.
Yeah.
'Cause it's really just like, you looked forward to it then because like an excuse to like, they were called the Image Awards where we were.
So y'all had like a actual award
banquet,
show?
yeah.
Okay, well, ours wasn't that.
It
was
was 1 o'clock to when school was out at 3.
No,
the whole thing.
Ours was just in the yearbook. People voted on it,
Yeah.
and then they'd announce who won. What we had that was more of like a banquet is they had a Mr. Hhs Pageant.
Oh God.
And that was we just made a whole bit out of it.
Yeah.
Me and my friends got disqualified from it because we rapped at the beginning and then we did a striptease to pour some sugar on me
There we go.
or whatever. And everyone was like, "How did y'all get that how did y'all get that approved? Because we had to tell them what the talent was before. And I was like, well, I told them, I was like, we're going to rap and then we're going to do a dance. Is it cool if we do a wardrobe change on stage? And like, yeah, absolutely. So it started off, we rapped, and then like we walked out. It's like, oh, you thought we were done? And then Pour Some Sugar came on, and two of us crawled out from one thing on the stage. Another guy came in the middle and grabbed us by the hair, and then like we had tearaways on and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, you just saw the principal come down the hall, down the auditorium, and he's like, "Turn the music off" or whatever, and they kicked us out.
Come on. Did the crowd go wild?
Oh, it was out of control.
Crowd loved it, didn't
yeah,
they?
they were loving
because
it.
Because you're sticking it to the man a little bit
we
when you
were
do
killing
that.
it, man. We got our tearaways down. We were in like girls' volleyball shorts and like some girls' tank top, and then we were really mad because we spent all this time. I think I've actually already told this story on this podcast, but we spent all this time choreographing this dang thing with our friends that were on the girls that were on the dance team. They spent all this time choreographing. We didn't get to the dance moves because they kicked us out by then.
No, the principal probably regrets that call, years later. Because
sure.
you know what? Now that would probably be allowed, I think.
Well, I asked why. I was like, because a couple years later, I came back as a substitute teacher to the high school. And I asked him, hey, man, you remember Mr. Huber? Oh, he goes, of course I remember that. So y'all only people ever get disqualified from the Mr. Heber pageant. And I was like, why did y'all turn the light? He's like, we thought y'all were gonna get naked. Like we didn't we didn't know where it was gonna stop.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And you probably shouldn't trust a kid at that age.
Yeah.
He's gonna do something wild on his way out.
Yeah,
too.
we're 18, and so the story was they were trying to catch us because they couldn't really get us in trouble for that, but they were like looking for things to happen so that we would get in trouble, so they could get us in trouble.
I mean, that's the genesis of the senior prank in general.
Yeah.
I've got nothing to lose. What are you going to do to me? I'm not going to be here next year.
Did you guys do a senior prank?
Yeah, it involved golf carts and running them through the high school. Wasn't that big of a deal, though.
No big deal?
But we got in trouble, but it wasn't that big of a deal.
I wanted to do for our senior prank, but it was going to be very elaborate and it would take a lot of moving parts. I wanted us, because you know how at college you go back usually like 2 weeks after the high school starts? I don't know if you remember that. But college starts a little bit later than high school. So what I wanted us to do is I wanted everybody from the because I don't know about you guys, but for us, the first day of school was always chaos. Because you've got like 600 new well, not y'all, but like we
had six new people.
Yeah, six new freshmen coming in. No one knows where they're going. But, we had 600 new freshmen coming in. And everyone's all over the place. So what I wanted us to do is I wanted us to show up the first day of school and everybody show up at your first period class that you were last in at the end and just show up and sit down and just watch that chaos. Have an extra 450 kids there.
Like, what are they going to do with this? That would cause so much panic.
Yeah. Be like, why are y'all here? You graduated. What are you talking about?
That's like administration panic.
Yeah.
Like all up and down the chain. Everyone going, what's happening?
No one could buy in that much. So we didn't even do a senior
That's
prank.
right, yeah. I didn't even have the desire though. Like what we did was very half-assed. I don't even really think we even get in trouble, like too much trouble for it. Like it's the coaches had like golf carts and stuff there because everything is it's all kind of close. So golf carts are a thing, right? And I remember us just blowing through one day like during class. We like skipped a class and we just all got the golf carts and went through the hall. And that's it. Not that big of a deal. So definitely worse things.
No one got in trouble or anything like that.
Not that I remember, but it was like. Also 15 years ago.
We had a lot of ideas. I remember these ideas, us joking about it. Like,
I
was like, what if we just get like a lion? We just let it go. Like, just let a lion out in the hallway, see what happens.
A deer was discussed. A deer. Yeah. We're going to catch a deer, which you could do, actually, where I'm from.
There you go, yeah.
It's like athletes go out to where I'm from to like hunt deer in the off season and things like that.
I think people did that from my school too.
Yeah, surely.
I'm sure they did. I never was really into that. It never was.
I won't touch an animal. So
okay, well,
besides humans.
Yeah, there you go. No animal touching for you.
No.
So okay, so you're doing radio. You did sports in high school too?
Yeah.
Were you like doing bits while you were playing sports?
Oh my God, yes.
Like not taking it serious at all?
Yeah,
semi-serious.
So I was decent at football, and then I kind of like, You know, I used to be skinny, and then I discovered beer my junior year, and that just kind of changed everything. So like, so I've got the, football. I ended up not like I was good like in 8th grade and then 9th grade, and then everyone caught me, and so I wasn't that good at football, but I stayed on the team. Always did a bit, and I got to the point where my senior year, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna like be on the team, but I'm not gonna practice. Like they tried to make me be a tight end. Well, if you're a tight end in that offense, you're gonna be working out with the offensive lineman. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then coach was like, well, yeah, you're going to have to do that or you're going to go run. And I was like, no, I'm not going to run. Ended up like finding, getting some leverage on a couple of the coaches. And then me and my buddy Dustin would just play catch on the side. It was pretty great. Like I really didn't do a thing my senior year. I would go to the practice. I would like skipping practices. But me and him would just play catch on the sideline. We were like not involved with the team at all. In fact, my senior year was one of our last games, our last road game, and we were white and red. So our jerseys were like white jersey, white pants, red numbers, and it was just the muddiest game of all time, right? Mm-hmm. And guys are getting hurt, and those guys are laying it on the line, and I'm like, I'm not getting a snap. Like, I'm legit not playing. And I remember, like, it's a blowout, and Coach tried to put me in. I said, Coach, F you. I am not going in. Look at me. So there's a big team picture. I need to find this. There's a big team picture of all of us. The whole team's muddy, and I was like, I'm standing on the sideline like I have no mud on me at all.
At all?
Just the clean. But I couldn't help the team. I wasn't good. I wasn't tall. I wasn't fast. I was a decent. I quit basketball. I had some different. I didn't like to coach too much. And in baseball, though, I was decent at baseball. I was a pretty good baseball player.
Okay.
Had a lot of fun. My biggest baseball memory, though, comes on the basketball court. Because have you heard of the Fantasy of Lights tournament?
No.
It's a big basketball tournament in Wichita Falls.
Okay.
And it happens over the course of Black Friday and Saturday. And they needed an extra team in like this like B bracket or whatever. And they're like, well, we've got some baseball players who like used to play basketball. We could probably enter another only team in to this like high school basketball tournament. And our baseball coach was like, yeah, I'll coach you guys. I'll drive you up there, on the bus. So we were the only Cubs as our team. Well, we were called the only Scrubs. Okay. So the week leading up to that, we're like joining in and kind of having our own basketball practice. As we were like, generally we'd be in off season if we weren't playing basketball and getting ready for baseball. So only Scrubs became this like big thing in the town. Okay. And back then they had like a newspaper that was like, it was like people were like going to see this thing because it's it's like bad basketball players basically.
Yeah.
Although I say I had a pretty good shot. Well, you start getting into a competitive game. Well, we win the first game. Like, we beat a legit team, like a 2A team. So that team's, like, mad. They're, like, petitioning, like, how did you let them play? They don't even really play basketball. How did Olney get 2 teams in? Well, the truth is, Olney could have entered their JV team, but decided not to. They said to enter the Olney Scrubs. Then we get into another game, and it's a tight, contested game, and there's a lot of elbowing going around, some pushing and shoving. And I remember at one point, we weren't getting any calls or whatever, and I remember our baseball coach goes, all right, ref, if you want to play that way, we got a bunch of football players if you want to play that way. And I was like, that was the funniest line to me. I was like, we can really like tackle people now. It was the most wild ass stuff.
Because y'all had nothing to lose.
We won 2 games. We nearly won the tournament. It's like a prestigious basketball tournament in that area of the world. It was like, how did we? Again, it was a B bracket. It wasn't like, but we nearly won. Like, it was really fun. I got a technical. Like, I was so glad. I would never, like, my parents would have killed me if I got a technical in a real game. Uh-huh. But I think for this, they were kind of like, this is kind of funny. All I did, I slammed the ball down. The ref teed me up. And I was like, you can't tee me up, ref. I'm not even a real player.
I had a friend get a technical foul in a basketball game. Like in a camp
it's
basketball.
Not even real.
Like that. And it's even worse than that. In a practice game, because how like basketball camps will always have like tournaments on the same. I don't know. During basketball camp, there would always be. You do like all the fundamental stuff and all the drills, and then they would put you on teams, and then you would have some kind of tournament
contest
inside the actual camp, right? So it wasn't even a real game yet in the basketball. It was a practice game. It was like a seeding game. I was like, you just got teed up in a fake camp basketball game. Like, this isn't that serious.
Like, it's more on the guy giving out the tees. Like, he just wants to, like, do the thing. He wants to do the hand motion.
You're trying to throw out this
And
eighth
drop the
grader.
tee. Like,
this fake game. Where are you going to tell him to go? You're just going to kick him out and be like, all right, we'll see you in the dribbling drills later.
I was like, we're not even supposed to be here. Like, I don't even understand how we're getting technicals. Like,
how did the real only team do?
I bet they did pretty good. They're a pretty good basketball team.
Yeah.
They went to the playoffs and all that stuff, so they were good. We used to get, when I was growing up, the Salina used to beat us out of football playoffs every year.
Oh, well, they were unstoppable for like a
Rid-
decade or something like
ridiculous.
that.
Yeah.
And then they have the kid that shut down Tech's program on their team.
Oh, yeah, probably. Craig James' son?
Yeah. Wasn't he on that team?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Probably so, yeah. Mike Leach locked him in a shed.
Yeah,
I still think that's one of the funniest sports stories of all time. Mike Leach locked a guy in the shed. Like, that's, like, now, then that's why I ask people to just go read the story, because there are a lot of people like, you can't lock a kid in the shed. And like, well, the kid was kind of griping a lot. Like he kind of needed to go to the shed, you know?
And like I like Leach's like responses. Like, he had a concussion. Like, it's good for him to be in the shed.
I should be careful because, well, say this thing at that age too. I was listening to a lot of The Ticket, you know, in high school and things like that. So you're starting to like, and they just had this running bit for fun. And I don't know this. I mean, you can go find it probably. It's probably on his Wikipedia page. But there was this like running bit. You can delete this if you need to, dude. There's like running bit going on every once in a while, and a joke is that Craig James killed 4 hookers at SMU, and that's like, so every time that story comes up, I was like, yeah, he got put in the shed. His dad killed 4 hookers. The shed's the least of what that family's worry should be.
Jameses will do some shit, you know, like.
And I was kind of nervous if I ever say that, because sometimes I'll say that. I rarely, if ever, say that on our radio show. But I always get nervous. I'm like, I wonder what Craig James could do, because, you know, I guarantee you he's got power and money in whatever world he's living in, you know?
Well, he's just gone now, right? I mean,
I
he's
hope.
not in, because for a while, what was he on? He was on ABC, maybe. He was on.
Oh, he's not on TV anymore. Yeah,
He's not anything. Right?
Oh, yeah. Because he was hardcore, put my beliefs out there guy.
Okay, I couldn't remember what happened to him. I just remember that he shut down SMU.
Dude, some people love him, and especially people who kind of live up in your neck of the woods, too.
Yeah.
So, like, I should be careful about this.
You're okay, man. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I don't care.
Yeah, there you go.
What is he going to do?
Kill you? You're not a hooker.
He's
He's
going
not
to kill
gonna do
me?
anything to
I'm not a hooker yet.
you. You
know?
So
I'll say, put me in a shed.
yeah, there you go. And then
I live in a small one-room apartment, Craig James. Put me in a shed. Not going to kill me.
that's my life.
Mike Leach. I'm on Team Leach.
Yeah. I was built for this.
I was built for this. I live with a stuffed bear in a 400-foot apartment. Like, I'm okay.
I've been training for the shed, Leach. All right, put me in the shed. I dare you to.
Everyone is like, you know, oh, COVID, you've been locked in, and like, you know, it's so depressing, and like, I get it, but I'm kind of thriving over here in this pandemic. I live in a 400-foot apartment shed.
I kind of actually enjoyed the whole being locked down for a little bit. It got me out of doing things that I didn't normally want to have to do.
Yeah, and it was also like an easy excuse to get out of stuff. And another thing I would say too, like I missed going to sporting events and going to concerts and just going places and doing things. Mm-hmm. I did miss that for the most part, but I didn't miss going or doing things that I had to do.
Oh, yes.
Because those kind of got canceled.
Exactly, like 100%. All the things that you're just like, God, I wish I had an excuse. Like sometimes your kids are like a little, for me, like my kids are like a little bit sick. It's like, oh, they got 99.5. We can't come. We can't come. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. They're sick. They're sick. They're so sick. We're not going to be able to make it. And they're texting, are they okay? I don't know. We'll let you know.
We'll test them later.
We'll let you know. I'm not sure if they're going to be okay. You know, and then it was like, now the whole world, you can use that. If you're sick, oh, I got a little bit of a cough. I'm not going to be able to make it.
Well, you know what we've and I understand that there are people who probably take advantage of this, like going to work and things like that. There are people who absolutely will take advantage of that. But I think we kind of learned, like, hey, if people are sick, they don't need to go to work and like spread it. Like, let's stop spreading this. Like, I'm not saying I want to wear a mask. I don't. I'm good, right? But you know those cold days, you know, in the wintertime and flu season comes around, I might wear a mask a little bit just to kind of like not get the flu, maybe.
Yeah, man.
Or maybe not. I don't know. I haven't thought about it too much, but
dude, my family is sick all the time because like it was like all the time someone's sick. I have 2 small children, so it's always someone's getting sick. Then someone else catches it in the house too, And for a year, not one person sick. I was like, I didn't rock a mask next year.
I ain't trying to have a mask on in August, but like, hey, you get to like the cold months. It actually doesn't feel too bad out there.
During Christmas shopping time, you know?
Yeah, cover the face when it gets cold. Or maybe when the grid shuts down. Yeah, great.
There you go.
How's our grid doing? Is everyone like...
What's that?
Are we just assuming the grid's good? Like,
I don't know. Luckily for me, I live on the fire department, same grid as the fire department. Yeah. So I felt real bad during that, like, because we didn't have anything problem, and I'm doing all these Zoom meetings with my coworkers, and like one person was like telling me these horror stories, like terrible stories, and I'm like, I mean, it got a little chilly in my room, like, you know, like I was like, hell no.
It was so bad, and you also could like, well, you could, but it was like very difficult to travel to help anyone who you wanted to like help out. So like, you know, my girlfriend and her family, like, you know, they lost power. You know, and I was like, you know, they were talking about like getting firewood off their trees and like they're like cutting their trees and stuff, things like that. And I was like, man, power hasn't gone out here. Like, I'm good. And she was like on the other side of the Metroplex. So should I go drive across and like, what am I gonna do? Freeze with you or
exactly?
Y'all can't come here because I have a 400-foot shed that I live in.
Yeah.
Like, that's not gonna work out. Yeah. I don't know how we got to the grid.
I don't either, but let's see. What were we talking about?
We'll move around a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay, so you go from Olney to college.
Mm-hmm.
You study, do you study journalism or you study radio and television?
Radio, TV, film is what it was called then. It's something different now. It's like media arts or digital
Were you
arts.
always wanting to get into radio? Was that kind of the goal, or did you want to do anything else in that?
Yeah, I wanted to do radio, and I'd done with all that like play-by-play stuff I'd done when I was 13, and then, you know, working at that radio station a little bit, you know, I got that play-by-play bug. And then the summer before I went to college, I did this like, you know, baseball league, you know, of guys who were, you know, not playing professional baseball now. But like I did that and like got paid doing that, and I was like, this is great. And then I quickly realized, hey, man, baseball would be a tough sport to like really want to do that job in because they have a game every night.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter who's, you can't miss anything. Oh, your favorite band's in town? Nope. You have a baseball game tonight. Oh, your friend's getting married? No, you have a baseball game tonight. Like that world, I very quickly realized that. And again, I was listening to Ticket so much moving on. I was realizing, man, I could kind of, it was like really speaking to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I like sports, great. And I like funny stuff too. And they were, you know, pulling that off for a long time at the Ticket. So I just had this kind of desire, like, that's what I want to do. I want to go work there. And I was able to make it work. I got an internship there after a couple of years at UNT and, you know, working in the radio department and, you know, do TV stuff as well. And I got an internship, worked 2 semesters as an intern there. And basically what you're doing as an intern at that time was you're covering games, which was awesome. You know, you're covering Ranger games, and the Rangers were good then too, man. Covering Mavs games, go to Stars game, go to Cowboys practice, things like that, and you're just stick the microphone in the place.
You're just rolling tape.
Yeah. Now everyone does it on their phone and they just email it to themselves. But back then you would actually get it on a, you know, you're rolling it onto a cassette and you're going and taking the tape back to the station and dumping it into the computer system. Like, it was actual. You know, so I would go to Denton, I would drive to Dallas, and then you'd drive over to Arlington, cover the Ranger game, take the tape back to Dallas, drive back to Denton. But it was like great experience. You learned what it was like to be in a locker room. You meet all these other people in media and things like that. And then I got real lucky, and I won't talk, you know, in specifics about what was said, but what got me hired at the Ticket, because you always need someone to leave. Mm-hmm. You can go be an intern at a place, but they're not just like adding people. Yeah. Like, someone's got to leave. But around that time, I remember I was in a film class, and I got a text from someone. They said, "Hey, did you see what happened?" And I said, "No." Well, what happened is someone at the Ticket had gotten fired for an insensitive tweet.
Okay.
And I'll leave their name and what the tweet was out of it because I know the person. And I actually genuinely like the person. I hate what was said, but I genuinely like this person. Terrible thing for him to do, but I like the guy. And that got me hired because Ticket had to fire that guy because of that.
And now they had a spot.
And one guy moves up, and then a weekend guy moves up to full time, and then a weekend guy moves up to another weekend role, and all of a sudden they've got a role how we can hire a weekend overnight board op. So I was working at the Ticket from Friday, my final semester or 2 semesters of college. My job at the Ticket was to work Friday and Saturday nights from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., which, if you want to go drink with your friends, not optimal, but, you get the drinking done during the week. So it's all good.
And you're going to get work at the Ticket.
Getting work at the Ticket, incredible. And it's overnight and it's crazy. And then eventually they start, okay, you're working weekends. And then you're doing live shows on weekends. And, okay, now do you want to produce a show? Okay. And you want to do tickers? And then you're on the air. And then by the end of it, my run at the Ticket, May 2013 is when I left. Man, that 2012 and 2013 at the Ticket, I was filling in a lot. I was jumping on with Bob and Dan. I got to fill in with Gordon Keith. One night, me and Gordon Keith and my buddy Machine did a night show where Gordon, who is one of my heroes, I mean, he just forgot his headphones or something and went up to the station, and I was board hopping, but I was actually watching Breaking Bad because board hopping was hitting a button during a national feed, like it wasn't doing anything. I remember catching up on Breaking Bad, and he goes, what are you doing right now? I was like, not much, man. He goes, are we in national? I was like, yeah. He goes, all right, let's have some fun. And then for 4 hours, he just took calls from people. And it was like, he was, giving me characters, and we were just kind of improvising. I mean, it was all him mainly, and I was kind of pissing down my leg. But that was the night that was like, oh, wow, this is, I got a chance to make this here. And I didn't really do anything, but I got to eventually fill in for him on the morning show and things like that. And then it was opening day of 2013. Bob Sturm came up to me and he said, Ben and Skinner out at ESPN. He goes, I'm not trying to get rid of you, but I sent them some of your audio from a game show we did, on our show a few weeks ago. Just letting you know, it was a very nice thing for him to do because he didn't have to do that. And then Ben and Skin called me and we met up and, basically I had a full-time offer to go to the Fan. And, at the time I worked at an oil company, and I know nothing about the oil industry, by the way.
What were you doing at the oil company?
Just filing stuff, moving, kind of like dad stuff in a garage, like moving shit around.
Okay.
Like dads will just go out in the garage, just like, I'll move that box. Let's just kind of put that over there. Well, you've been in there for 2 hours. What are you doing? I was just moving shit around.
Being productive.
I mean, somehow it's being productive in their eyes. It's really a waste of time.
Yeah.
They're just moving stuff around. How do you remember where you keep everything? But that's what I was doing. Occasionally they needed to lift some things, but I was part-time, but they were cool about understanding that, whatever the Ticket needed me to do, because it could be a random Tuesday. We need you to fill in during the day on something. So I was like, and then I was also working at Dick's Sporting Goods part-time, and they understood too that, hey, if I need to be off to go work at the Ticket, or if I need to be off to get a few more hours at the oil company who paid me a little bit more, everyone was very understanding.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to go because I never wanted to leave the Ticket. I remember do you remember Culture Map? Or no, this wasn't a Culture. This might have been Central Track. Early days of Central Track. My God, early days of Central Track with Pete Friedman. And there's an article written, and it's me and it's my buddy Machine, and it's Mike Soroy and Jake Kemp. And Mike Soroy and Jake Kemp are huge players at the Ticket. Mike Marshall, huge player in the Dallas Mavericks organization, does all their digital stuff. I mean, he's awesome. And there's an article that's about the up and coming guys at the Ticket. This is like a month before I left, and I think I'm quoted in there as saying I can't see myself ever leaving the Ticket or something, just because I was young and excited that they were doing an article on us. I was 25 or whatever, and then a month later I left because I got a full-time offer. It was great to it was great to go to Dick's Sporting Goods and be like,
I'm done.
Thanks, guys. I don't have to work here anymore.
Yeah.
And no offense to anyone who's ever worked there, but I don't have to do this anymore.
Yeah. You don't have
the
to do
oil
retail
company people
anymore.
were great, but it's I'm done.
I'm not moving files anymore.
Full-time job, and so it was really cool. And I was skeptical about going to the Fan because the Fan was in a bad position at that point. They were in a bad. I'll say it. They were a bad station at that time. Mm-hmm. They really were. It was taking a big leap of faith, but we ended up making it work, I think.
Was that the first time you had, did you know Ben and Skin before then?
Yeah, I'd run into Ben in the Rangers locker room and run into Skin in the Mavs locker room. Skin and I had attended a Radiohead concert together, things like that. Skin and I had a lot of the same music preferences or things like that. So I run into him at concerts, I feel like. But I knew them both. Obviously I knew them from their days at the Ticket, and I'd listened to them when they were on 105.3 before it was the Fan.
Yeah, when they were live.
I liked their show. Like, I would listen to them because, that station was pretty wild ass. And I would listen to that and the ticket kind of at the same time because it was crazy. That station didn't have any rules. It's kind of like what our station is now at the Eagle with this and then the Russ Martin show after us. Like, it was just that kind of do whatever. And I gravitated towards that. So I really liked that. And then, then whatever happened, at the fan with, they did the Richie and Grego thing and all that stuff. And
Yeah, I was big. I really liked Richie and Grego. And then you guys came in at first. I was like, I don't really want to.
That's a bunch of people, man.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this. But then y'all pranked somebody. It was the Nigel and Whippy. Y'all pranked some guy that was like coming out with a book or something. I don't remember what it was.
That book on like legalizing marijuana or something.
I don't know. I don't remember what it was. And I was like, well, I'm hooked now. This is hysterical.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like you start getting people hooked. You usually get people hooked on something funny. You rarely get people hooked on sports. I knew so much about Grego that I always kind of thought that was I was like, man, we're going into this very toxic place. Because I knew his falling out the ticket. I knew all about that, and I was like, kind of replacing that guy. You kind of think about it like that. It's a dangerous thing to think about.
Yeah,
But it was rough at first. I mean, I went and I was kind of clear about my demands before I went. Like, I had like a whole list of things like, hey, mic on. I don't want to be a guy who's on a show and like mic off. Like a mic on guy, right? With the mic on, you have the freedom to talk when you want to talk. And it's as producer at the time, and you're doing all the producing duties, but I didn't want it to be one of those things where they pinpoint you in this thing. And then I remember a few, months into it, they were trying to like, not Ben and Skin, but, the bosses were trying to like, texting Ben and Skin, like, we need to get KT off the air. And I get it. I was 25. I probably wasn't very good. But like, how is anyone ever going to learn about people or new people that you're bringing to your station if you don't let them try to? And it's also like, I'm also a big believer in when hiring people, like hire people who you trust, which I'm kind of contradicting myself because I would kind of get to pick out our interns for a few years. And I was like, man, I don't know if I trust these guys. But interns are different than actually hiring someone and paying them a salary.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was very kind of frustrated this first years. And, getting to work with Ben and Skin, we had a rough couple years getting started because it was like, how do you get to know what they do, how they do it all the time? I didn't listen to their show on ESPN. And I think I said that one day, and I think they kind of got butthurt about it a little bit. Well, butthurt's not the word, but they were like, what? Did we just hire? We hired a guy, we hired a ticket snob is what they thought. And sometimes, and I probably was. I was 25. I was probably a dick, man. But I really meant well, and I really wanted to find a way to make the show better. It was very difficult when, we have people who think the show should be this way, and people should think the show should be this way, when really the answer is usually in the middle.
Well, and it probably was difficult, too, for you. I would assume I'm making an assumption here, to go in. Not only have they worked together for years, they're also friends for years.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a hard thing. Anytime, like, you're, like, the new person, like, in a friend group, that's always a weird thing anyways. Yeah. And now you're, like, doing that for professionally. I can imagine that was probably somewhat a little bit difficult to try to navigate where you fit in a little bit.
And that first incarnation of the show, too, that I was a part of, Brendan Smith was the board op, and he had worked with them. So it's like I'm actually joining this thing with 3 people who have worked together. And, it took a little bit to fit in. I got the ability to go do some stuff on weekends was very helpful. And also, Ben and Skin very early on realized I wasn't like a threat. Like that's one thing I think, not that they would have ever thought I was a threat, but I was like, once they realized, okay, this is a good kid who wants us to like succeed and he's in it with us.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you may be like, was this guy is he talking to management? Like, you don't know.
Yeah. Is he just here because he's trying to move his career? Or does he actually want this show to be better?
Yeah. And sometimes management types in radio will use producers as a liaison to like, okay, that's how I can get through the talent. And it should not at all be how it is. But sometimes that happens.
Making you like the mole.
So
a
you're
little
like,
bit.
okay, I mean, we got a huge fight, and I brought this up on the air on our radio show the other day, so I don't have a problem talking about it here. But we got in a big fight in New York at the Super Bowl, and, you know, I've got a boss, you know, back at home telling us we need to get this guest, and I'll never forget the player because it was former Seahawks and Steelers linebacker Chad Brown. Ring a bell with anyone? Everyone good? Yeah, not a household name. And Ben's here like, no. And meanwhile, the boss is on the phone with me saying yes.
Yeah, book Chad Brown.
And I'm like, okay. And Chad Brown's on the Houston radio station right behind us, and he can see it on our webcam. Like, oh. So, you know, we get in this big thing, and I remember we got in kind of a big fight, and I was like, okay, you guys are not helping me. The boss wants me to do this. Had a big kind of blow up. I had to, like, leave the show. This is in Radio Row in New York. You know, I remember it was like me and Ben were like getting into it. It was like on the webcam. I remember like my parents were like, "Did you guys just get in a fight on the webcam?" I was like, "Yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal, you know."
Yeah.
But like it was like a thing where it was like, "Oh yeah, I think I just lost my job here." Like I was about to like walk. I was about to like get a flight and go home because I was like, "This is not fair to me right now." Like no one's looking at this from my point of view here of booking. I don't want to book the guy either, but I need you guys to help me and get the boss off my ass. And, you know, they didn't see that at the time. And I think they know that now, you know, but that was always like a tough thing. But the point is, I don't know why we went down that dark road.
Have you guys thought about getting Chad Brown on the show now?
Dude, I think I'm actually going to see if he wants to start a business. I was thinking about maybe doing a brewery.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, there's not enough breweries in town.
No, you should. I think it would be great for you guys to bring Chad Brown on and just tell him that story and just see how awkward he can
Chad,
make it.
Chad, we want to talk Steelers. What do you think? Come on. Hey, Chad, do you remember this time? You think he would see that coming?
Yeah.
He wouldn't have a damn clue.
No, he'd have no idea. And you just bring him in. Like maybe, I don't know if the Cowboys play the Steelers this year or not, or if they play the Seahawks.
I don't either.
Bring him in to act like that's what you're going to talk about. It's like, hey, do you remember
fun.
when you were just kind of at the Super Bowl and you didn't know if you were going to go on the show or not? Well, that was us.
Yeah.
And there was a big fight that I actually was going to have to take the Greyhound back to Dallas because of it. So can you talk to us about how awkward that was?
Yeah, I think this is possible. If anyone can find Chad Brown, I'm assuming he's still alive, then yeah. I mean, he's not like an older guy. He's like 45.
I don't know. I think you should make it happen.
I think, yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
We'll get Chad Brown on finally. And then we'll, you know, make sure that we podcast it and tag the proper accounts from other stations that wanted us
we
to have
finally got Chad Brown. We
Chad
finally
Brown
did what
on.
y'all wanted
Yeah.
us to do.
That was fun. That like that whole thing though. Like we got through that, and I remember. God, this is what's wild about that is we had such a. So it wasn't big of a blow up as I made it sound though. Like, you know, I made it sound like that. It was just tense for me because I was 25 and didn't know how to handle big personalities like Ben and Skin, because they're big personalities, and you learn how to do it. And by 2015, I kind of think we were in the zone. Like, I know, and they knew to trust me and things like that. And like that's where we kind of get to a point of like, okay, now this thing's grooving along, and we were allowed to do what we wanted for the most part. You know, there were still always things here and there, and that's why like that helped turn the fan. Then when they moved G-Bag Nation, and me and Jeff became. Jeff Kavanaugh, become really good friends. And Jeff, to his credit, he could have seen me as like a new guy. My first week at the fan, he was like, "Let's go have a beer at the Barley House." Like he reached out to me and we became, best buds really quickly. And then they moved G-Bag down before us, and then we kind of had a thing going. And then everything runs its course.
Yeah, and then things happen, and then
we
you guys are the Eagle.
Then we all die.
Right? And then you all die.
That's what happens.
Right?
I think if there's anyone who doesn't die,
I want to meet him.
Holy cow. Him. Could be a her.
Never know. Could be a
both.
Could be, who knows?
Maybe it's one of those Minotaurs.
There you go. So, okay. Name of the podcast is Back in the Day, right? And every season we kind of focus on like one story from the past, different theme. This year we're focusing on jobs, like first jobs. What was your first job that you ever had besides that radio gig at 13?
First job where I was getting paid was picking up range balls at Olney Country Club.
Okay, were you driving the thing where you pick up the range balls with the go-kart looking tractor thing that people drive?
Yeah, not as advanced, just a golf cart, and then attached to it, there's a hitch. Attached to it is this thing that kind of it's got all the wheels on it, you know, that'll pick up the balls in the back, and then 2 baskets. So what I would do is I'd pick up the range balls. They'd pay me $6 an hour.
Okay.
It was great. You could listen to your Walkman back then. You know, it was great. And then, you know, basically my job would be to pick them up and then take them and dump them into a washing machine. We would wash the range balls.
Okay.
Because they're very dusty out there in Olney. Now, again, that was not like some, it was more like, hey, coming back out on Thursday. All right, we'll see you next Tuesday. Yeah, come back out on Thursday. You know, it doesn't sound like, hey, you're a hired. It's probably illegal, honestly. But
you know.
I'm okay with it.
Will they pay you cash or they pay you
Cash.
Cash. How old were you?
Oh, like 10.
10 years old?
Yeah.
You're just driving this golf cart around in the rain. Now, is it like how you go to the driving range now? The guy that's coming picking up the range balls is out there while you're.
No.
Was there people out there hitting balls while you're getting the balls, or was it like after? It was
like I would
closed?
go in the morning. So
Okay.
so you go pick them up, and then there's not enough people in the town to where like you're gonna run out of range balls.
Yeah.
Right. So like you're good on that. So it's not like the thing where you had to go have another afternoon pickup session.
Yeah.
You
I
go
was
do it
just
in the morning.
envisioning young 10-year-old KT on a golf cart with no protection, and you just
Dumb.
out there and people just hitting balls.
I mean, on occasion, yeah, someone would want to be out there early, and yeah, that would happen for
and
sure.
you're jamming out to your Walkman. You don't even know what were you listening to?
Jock jams, bro.
Jock Jams,
Yeah.
Volume 1,
Jock rock too.
Jock Rock 2. Do
you remember Jock
Pump
Rock?
Up That Jam.
Jock rock was wild. It was like Jock jams, except here's some hits from the 70s.
Yeah,
it was kinda crazy.
I think they had like "We Are the Champions" on that one.
You're gonna get a lot of Queen on that.
Yeah,
You know, Jock Jams. I mean, that's a classic. You know, I think, but Jock Jams Volume 2, I always thought had some hidden gems on it and never gets talked about enough. And I think they gave up on Jock Jams 3.
I don't even know. Was there a third one?
I think so.
I don't even remember that. I just remember Jock Jams. We wore that CD out at my house.
Because it's awesome.
Yeah, and you're just getting pumped up. You're ready to go play a Little League basketball game.
I mean, I could almost name all of the tracks on that. I would miss a few. But it was definitely, you know, the Michael Buffer. You can't even say his phrase. You know, he trademarked "Let's get ready to." He trademarked that.
Really?
So if you say it, like, he can like fine you.
That's
so don't
crazy.
say "Let's get ready to."
I got you. I'm not going to say it.
You know, because he's a dick and he'll come find you.
You know, his brother also does announcing, Bruce Buffer.
Yeah.
He's the UFC guy.
He tries to be his brother.
Yeah. We hired him. My company did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, seriously. We found out that you could hire him. He could do custom intros for
He
you.
looks like he could kick ass.
Yeah. We hired
Kinda like
him.
the Ed Hockley thing going on.
And we did a custom intro for a sales competition. And we like sent him a script. He like called me up. He was like, "Is this Michael? This is Bruce Buffer from the UFC." And I was like, "What, you're calling me?" He's like, "I had a couple questions about the script you sent me."
Oh,
and
you
they
trying
like,
to change it?
And yeah, and he was like, he's like, "You want me to just kind of go off the script and then add a little buffer to it?" And I was like, "Yes,
Okay.
hell yes, I do."
Was it good? Does he use his brother's catchphrase?
No, he's got "It's time" is his catchphrase. He goes,
Okay.
he says something, and then he goes at the end, he goes, "It's time."
That's okay, you
Yeah.
know. It's not like I remember Mills Lane was one of my favorites. Let's get it on. You know,
Yeah.
that was always good on Celebrity Deathmatch, and then those people destroy each other.
So we hired him, and he did a little intro thing for
Yeah.
us. My boss was like, he's like, "It's worth the money just to figure out what's gonna happen on this."
Absolutely, it is just
Yeah.
to see.
It
Because
was
that's what
okay.
they do. Like, if you're gonna be that guy, you need to be really good at it.
Well-
They're good at, announcing things.
Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, he had that thing out within like 2 hours to us. He's like, "How soon do you need this?" I was like, "I need it by the end of the week. Can you get it by then?" He's like, "Yeah, I have quick turnaround time."
really all
2
I do.
hours- Yeah, 2 hours later, he's like, "I'm gonna be in the studio this afternoon doing something else, and I'll knock yours out then too." And I was like, "All right, dude.
Thank
this is
you.
Weird that I'm talking to you right
What
now."
else you doing today? What
Yeah.
are these other things?
Yeah, I was like, "All right, dude, send me some stuff. Who else are you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing some car lot down the street, like or whatever. I don't know."
You need to get him on.
Yeah, I should. Hey,
He'll
man,
do
will
it.
will you come out to Deep Ellum and we can talk back in the day stuff?
I'll book Chad Brown if you book Bruce Buffer first. That's
All right.
that's how we know it's a done deal.
Let me
Once you
see
get
what I
Bruce
can do.
Buffer.
I'll text you and let you know if I can get Buffer to come out here.
Get him out here.
Okay, so you're doing the drive range balls.
Yeah.
You got a story about a job that you were either fired from or quit inappropriately.
I've never been fired.
No?
I've never been fired. Quit inappropriately.
Like didn't give notice, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like when I quit the ticket, I quit on a Friday because I was starting on the Ben and Skin show on Monday, but I was a part-time guy at the ticket. And you're supposed to give 2 weeks, but it's like, dude, I have to start at the competitor on Monday. Like, I don't know.
In that industry, do they let you work 2 weeks out? If you give a 2 week notice, they don't let you finish that notice out, right?
Get out of the building ASAP. They treat you like you're a nobody. In fact, they take your card because parking garage card to get in. I remember it's like very fitting as I was leaving the ticket. Is like I sneak in behind another car that's leaving and I had to like rush out because they took my thing. How do you get out? And the thing just hits on top of my car. I remember that, like as I'm leaving. But I didn't think that was inappropriate. I don't think they thought it was inappropriate either. I did have a night at the Sports Authority. When I worked at the Sports Authority in Louisville, it got pretty tense one night. Because, here's what they do.
Wait, so you worked at Sports Authority and Dick's?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Dude, I didn't realize you were so...
Oh, it sucked. It was terrible. But they make you clean up, not clean up the store, but like they call it stocking. Like not stocking, it's like make everything look nice.
Yeah.
Pull up all the baseball gloves and make sure, put everything. Yeah. Facing. That's what it's called. Facing.
There we go.
Facing. Yes.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank you. I feel like Travis has faced before.
Yeah.
And that's great. You do that. And I didn't mind actually working at Sports Authority. But I didn't like, so you have like 4 or 5 different managers, and you have a closing manager, and there was just this one manager who would always like take 45 minutes to count the money, and like let us go home. Like everyone else takes 5 or 10 minutes, and like you can get home. If we close at 10, we're out of there by 10:10.
You think he was doing something shady with that money, and that's why Sports Authority went under? You think he was part of that?
I don't know. I really think.
What?
Oh, well. There was a man. I don't want to put. I've said too much. I shouldn't have said what company I worked for.
Okay.
But it was very interesting that there was a cashier that would always go back there. So it's like, okay, so what's going on in there?
Yeah, it's 45
Why is it
minutes.
taking them? But it's like, okay, so this manager's closing out. This manager's closing out. This manager's closing out. This manager's closing. We're going to be here for an hour after closing time.
Yeah.
That's a very frustrating thing.
You get to stay clocked in for that, though?
He got moody one night. Yeah, you stay clocked in for it, but you just want to go home at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, he got real moody one night and started like questioning things about how the store was faced. And I was like, come on, man. You're the only manager that keeps us here an hour after work. It's fine. I think it was like a nitpicky thing with a baseball glove, and the baseball gloves don't even fit into the baseball glove compartment very well. You're just jamming them in there. They don't even fit. It's so stupid. It's a stupid layout. And I kind of like snapped. It was real strange. And I don't remember what I said. I didn't cuss the guy out. I know that. But no, I did. I totally cussed the guy out. I said, you're the only motherfucker that keeps us here an hour later. Everyone else gets us out on time. What's going on? And then he told me to leave. And then I go up to the front, and everyone's laughing. And I'm like, am I getting pranked right now? But they're laughing because they overheard it because he had his thing on. So they all heard it. So it's like it went out over the thing as they're all waiting. Everyone's just waiting to go home.
Yeah,
like, what are we doing
here?
here?
Can you count, sir?
So I go out to my truck, and I'm like, okay. I think I just lost my job, but, I only worked like 20 hours a week here anyway, so we'll figure something else out, right?
I like how you're on this verge of getting fired off. Like you constantly kind of think, did I just lose my job?
Yeah.
But you're bouncing back every single time.
Well, I had the meeting with the guy, and he was like, oh, yeah, why is it 10:45? And I think they were going to like look at like security camera footage, like what is going on in there? You guys are really in that. Sure enough, they go check your time clocks and they're like, wait, so on Tuesday nights you guys all have 10:45, and then on Wednesday you guys are all leaving at 10:10. something is going on. And I don't even know what happened. I don't think anyone got fired over the thing. But, I didn't work there much longer after that because I was tired of it. And also I'd moved to, I was in Louisville. I moved, God, I just gave away the location of the store. That's terrible.
Well,
God.
they don't even exist anymore.
Yeah,
so
good
I think,
point. So they
you're
can't
fine.
do anything
What
to
are they
me.
going to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm untouchable anyway. I've got
Yeah.
so many lawyers.
There you go.
And the other one, though, this is one of the wildest things. And you know what? I'm not calling them out, but it is an odd thing that I worked. So I met a guy in college, and ran into it. He lived in the apartment complex next to me, and ran into it at the bar every once in a while. And we were talking one night, and he was like, "If you need some work, man, I work at TMS." And he's like, "We run give tours and stuff." So I was a tour guide at TMS. Well, being a tour guide at TMS is really working in the gift shop, which sounds kind of wild. And then people come in, they sign up for a tour, and then you hop in a van with these people. Yeah, so I got a bunch of people into a van. There it is.
There you go.
And you drive them around. Okay, there's the suites, and this is where, all right, and then you take them in, you show them the press box, you show them the club seats, and then you take them down to the track. And you go around the track 2 laps, and you can't go over 60 miles per hour. You go over 60 miles per hour, you're going to get radioed in. The thing is, I have narcolepsy. I could fall asleep at any time. And these people are signing away their rights. I'm not saying, that I should not have been hired. I don't want to get anyone in trouble here. I'm also not saying that a guy with narcolepsy needs to be driving people around TMS in a van.
Yeah. Did they know
Kinda
you
dangerous.
had narcolepsy?
No.
Okay. Well,
But I didn't know I had narcolepsy. At the
that
time, no.
I think so.
I didn't know until I was 24.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
This
you
was
just-
well before that.
What made you kind of tip off that you had it? Was there one instance in particular that you're like,
well,
I need to get this checked out?
The side effects and symptoms I had since high school, but just didn't know. What is this? It's very, very strange. One thing that would stand out, and it happens to me almost daily, is if I have a sudden trigger of emotion, maybe I think something's funny or I'm trying to get a joke out, and sometimes I have this thing, it's called a cataplectic event. It's called cataplexy. And it's a side effect of narcolepsy. I know these are dumb, big words that, but if you go read about cataplexy, so basically what it is, if something exciting happens, let's say I haven't seen you in a long time and I run into you at we bump into each other in Vegas. I might stop down and I can't control my body.
Okay.
Now, my mind is running fine, but I can't for 1 or 2 seconds, my body quits. Skin's seen it before playing golf. I drain a 50-foot birdie putt, goes in, get excited real quick. Then my body stops, and I just kind of start leaning over. But my mind is still running. That's a thing that I deal with. It sucks, but, you manage it and get through it. So the whole point is I knew all these things were happening. I didn't know how to identify it. Did all kinds of sleep tests, sleep apnea, tried the CPAP machine. You try that thing. And finally I went to the sleep doctor in Denton because I got into a car accident one day. I was driving home and I just fell asleep while driving, and I wasn't on any medication, and I hit the back of 2 guys. Ran into the back of them. It wasn't a bad wreck. No one got hurt or anything like that. They actually sped off because they didn't have insurance or a driver's license or anything. They were definitely it was very clear that they were some type of, they were criminals of some sort.
Yeah.
It was very clear. I remember going, okay, I got to get this figured out. And now I'm on medication, so I'm good. I'm set. There's no cure for narcolepsy, but there is ways to treat it, without their fixing what it is. So yeah, that's a long way of saying if I'm not on medication, I don't need to be driving.
Yeah, makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So no Uber drive. You shouldn't have been an Uber driver.
No, not at all.
Nothing of that.
Not at all. And that was a scary thing, man. That was a wake-up call. Bro, you
Yeah.
need to go get this fixed because you're trying to, for 10 years, you've been trying to figure out what this is. I mean, I slept all through high school, man. And I think that's not uncommon for, high school kids who might be tired. But it was a thing. It was very troublesome for me to stay awake. And to this day, I've got to be smart about how I approach my day. If and this is an everyday basis, if I'm going to go drive somewhere or long ways, or if I know I've got a big 12-hour day in front of me, I've got to find a way to get 10 minutes or 15 minutes in the middle of that somewhere to just go to sleep. And it sounds crazy, but it's what works for narcolepsy.
That's crazy. So it's like a little small cat nap.
Yeah.
To try and get you through the day.
Yeah, the other Jimmy Kimmel has narcolepsy, and he's talked about it some, and we kind of have like similar experiences with that type of thing. The other guy who has narcolepsy is Ron Jeremy, and I think he's the worst person.
Well,
but but if I did have anything in common with Ron Jeremy, it's that.
Yeah.
And nothing else.
There you go. So, okay. Last question I'll ask you to end this bad boy on. Okay. If money wasn't a thing, you don't need money.
It's not.
Right? Okay. Time's not a thing. Doesn't take you away from any commitments.
Okay.
Besides radio, what's the one job you would want to do?
Rock star.
Rock star?
Yes.
Okay. Like front man?
Front man.
What type of music would you play?
A nice blend of rock, orchestral rock,
Okay.
pop.
Okay.
I don't really have much of a desire to play. I mean, look, I'm an indie rocker through and through. That's my vibe. But man, I'm just like in love with the idea of the Polyphonic Spree and what they do and have done for years. And my guy Tim DeLauder, 20-year anniversary of the Spree last year. By the way, COVID got them. New album coming out this year, though. The idea that they put 20 people on stage and he just throws on these robes and just like uses his hands as power. Always love that, man.
So would you robe it up too if you were a rock star, or would
Hell
you have
yeah.
a different shtick?
No, I'd have a different shtick. I wouldn't do that. I mean, like I probably just be a jeans and t-shirt guy,
Well, I've seen you rock star it out a little bit. I saw
Yeah.
you at the Light Farms event
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple years ago.
Yeah.
Crushing it.
Was that okay? Yeah,
I think you had a good time. It was fun.
see, I've been like, I'm not a good singer. That's the problem, and I'm not a good musician. So
Okay. So
if you want to be a rock star, like amazingly, a lot of people have made a career out of being rock stars without being good singers or musicians. It's insane, but it's a thing that happens. But like they want me to go play a show at Roller Town.
do it.
And I was like, I'm nervous about that. Like they could have they have real talented professionals like yourself who had comedy night out there, right? You go and
Yeah.
get a set. You have like legit musicians who go out and like that's their job. And like I don't know if a slapdick like me needs to go out there and
No,
just be like,
you-
"Hey guys, I'm going to cover no, I'm not going to cover the remix to Ignition, but I'm going to cover."
I think you should cover.
Actually, you know what? Hey everyone,
Yeah.
I'm just going to say. Just because you cover a good song doesn't mean you agree with peeing on people.
I think if you do that show, and I think you should do that show, you definitely need to cover the remix to Ignition. That should be the closing. That should be your closer.
Well, so I've got this whole like set ready. No, that's the thing. It's like I actually kind of want to do it, but I'm scared. I'm so scared.
Man, okay. If you did a show out there, you would have so much fun because that would be such a like inviting crowd for you.
Yeah.
It would be so safe because it's gonna be the regulars that go to that brewery all the
Yeah.
time, and then also a ton of Ben and Skin listeners are gonna go up there.
Yeah.
So it would just be that would be like the safest place for you to do something.
Now
like
you're
that.
right. If you're gonna try it, the thing is, my piano player just moved to New York,
Okay.
but I got Christina. Christina to play guitar.
Yeah, I do it for sure.
Because we had a little fake band that we played Club Dada one night, and no one was there, but it was a great time. We had a blast. And I was the worst musician of the group. Because I don't want people thinking like I want to be the front man, but I really do want that. Like that is that's why I gotten real into karaoke over the last 3 years. Like the adrenaline is there. And I can do what I want with what song. I can do crazy guy. I can do high voice guy. I can do actual try to sing guy. I can do inspirational guy. You can do all these types of things and play to the crowd. And the rush I got from that was like I want to do karaoke right now.
I think there is no reason why you shouldn't play Roller Town. Like, I mean, there's no. First of all, even if you did it, that place is going to hold 100 max.
Like last week, they had for Skin's birthday party, they had Paul Shalda of Paul and the Tall Tree, like a legit musician.
Well, they're not going to perform at the same time you are. So it's not like people are going to sit there and be like, well, 6 weeks ago I was here and I saw this person perform. They're not, you know what I mean? Like it's
I just
not.
feel like I would stain the place. Like, remember that time KT was here and it sucked and we all ran out
because
you
you
can't
would
hit a
make
note?
it a fun thing. You know what I mean? You could play some of your.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, if it's Ben and Skin fans that are there, you could just play to that.
Yeah.
If y'all's listeners are at the brewery, you would just play stuff. You would play some
You're
inside
building me up
jokes.
here, and I kinda like-
I think you need to do it.
And then you have these like, what songs you want to play though? You got to go through that, and there's songs I would really want to play that I know the audience wouldn't want to hear, and that's kind of a concession that you have to make. So I'll play the song I wrote about Harambe instead of Smile Like You Mean It.
Yeah.
because no one wants to hear a bad singer sing Smile Like You Mean It by the Killers.
What you should do is like, so
Mix and match
Well, they have like when like D and Cheese there, they play for like 2.5 hours.
because they're monsters.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
So you don't need to do that. Like
No.
you don't need you need to set up and be like, listen, this isn't going to be some 3-hour set. You just need to go in there, do a 30-minute set.
2 15-minute sets.
Yeah,
Take a break.
Take a break. I'll be back in.
Guys, my fingers are bleeding because I don't play much.
I'll be back in a half an hour to do my second 15-minute set.
I could label it as like, like
a variety
like a,
night.
a variety night, or like a sharp flat, like not in tune.
Yeah.
An out of tune night, or something like that.
Or do it like when we do comedy or something.
Yeah.
And do it like a, or something. I don't know. You just
but
don't.
that's the thing. That's the thing. I don't want to be around other talented people though, because they will quickly make me look terrible.
No. I think you got to do it, man. It's if your dream is that you want to be
That's my dream.
a rock star,
Yeah.
and you've got a venue that is begging you to play, and the people want to see it.
Yeah.
I think there's no reason not to. Dude, if you had the courage to go play that Light Farms thing.
But I had my piano player who's he worked at Pete's Piano Bar. It's my buddy Orr, who just moved to New York. My buddy Ben Baby, who covers the Bengals now on ESPN, playing the cajon. He was just slapping that box below him. I had their, talents flanking me. Me doing it alone,
Well, you get Christina to come.
that would be a waste of her time and her reputation.
No,
Because
dude.
she's a good guitar player.
Well, then you just let her play the guitar, and you just kind of strum a couple chords.
I can play some chords. I can play the chords and sing at the same time. It's just, you're building me up a little bit, and I'm kind of feel like I'm breaking out of my shell here.
I think you should
I
do
think
it.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, do it.
All right.
All right. Well,
We're booked.
All right. I don't know who you need to talk to get that off
Tomorrow
the ground.
night, Roller Town.
Go see KT. So KT, where can people find you? Plug whatever you got going on.
So I live in the Village in a 400-foot apartment that Mike Leach locked me in.
There you go.
I guess people do social media these
Yeah.
days. KT Fun Tweets is the place.
On everything.
Twitter and Instagram, KT Fun Tweets. I work at The Athletic on the podcast about them Cowboys. I'm sure we have Cowboys fans listening.
There you go.
Even though I'm a Packers fan. The Kevin Turner Show podcast needs more downloads.
That's fun, guys. You need to listen to it. It's a lot of fun.
We're taking this week off, but we'll be back next week. But you should start at episode 0 because I'm telling you, these narratives and plot lines are all going to end together. Each episode. We've weaved a storyline. We spent a lot of time writing this long season of stories. So it's all going to come together. So make sure you start at the beginning or hit the auto download button and don't listen. Because if you hit the auto download button, that'll
You get
immediately
credit,
give me
right?
numbers.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone cares about anything except the numbers. So that's great there. And, Ben and Skin Show, 2 to 5 p.m. on 97.1 The Eagle. The Rock of Dallas, Fort Worth, I believe. The
Rocks.
Mighty Eagle.
Awesome. Well, make sure you follow KT on KT Fun Tweets. Check out his podcast, The Kevin Turner Show Podcast. Listen to him weekdays 2 to 5 on 97.1 The Eagle. You can find me on Instagram at HeHeMikeP or Facebook at facebook.com/Michael Pasvar, or you can check out michaelpasvar.com. Shows I have coming up that will be whenever this episode comes out. July 1st, I am at Six Springs Tavern in Richardson. July 14th, I will be at Rollertown Beer Works in Salina. I will also be there sometime in August. And I will also be, if you're in the Abilene area, at Tequila's, I think is the name of the place, August 26th. Make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.